deliver his statement.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellence, Monsieur William Ruto, Président de la République du Kenya, Président en exercice du COMESA.
The Chair COMESA, President Ndayishimiye from the Republic of Burundi, the outgoing Chair for COMESA, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, delegations, Your Excellency, Madam Cheleshe Kapwepe, SG from COMESA, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big honor for me to participate in this 24th summit of COMESA. I wish to first and foremost thank President William Ruto and his government and the people of Kenya for the hospitality that has been given to us, and since we arrived here in Nairobi, as well as for everything that has been done to ensure that this important event is successful. I also congratulate you for having accepted to assume the chairmanship of COMESA. I also wish to salute His Excellency President Ndayishimiye for his leadership and dedication during his chairmanship of the COMESA Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1924 to 94, COMESA, through the Treaty of Abuja, has been there, and of course there have been a lot of challenges that has come up, that is faced, given the disparities of the economies of the member states, diversity of the policies, and national policies, and deficit in terms of infrastructure. So the organization has, however, been able to grow, and today it has 21 members, that has one of the biggest geographical spaces for trade, with this GDP of about $26 million. So we have known a lot of progress, and now we have the intercontinental free trade area that this is going to be achieved, and we have our first ambition of ensuring that we have the pillar where we have the RECs, including COMESA, that are going to be part of this continental space. So we're going to ensure that we create resilient economies, and today the continent needs energy, and the 6 million of our African citizens don't have access to electricity. So the infrastructure programs, the PIDA program, with the $1 billion that is supposed to invest in this sector. So this remains a big challenge, and Africa imports a lot of food products, and we continue to accelerate this process of digitalization. And the theme of this summit brings this out clearly, and we want to say that this is affecting all the aspects of life, and we only have the capacity to actually be able to control the value chains. So certainly we have good signs in this regard, and COMESA has shown that there is innovation on the food production in 2025. So I'd like to remind you the strong challenges that agriculture is facing, especially when we look at climate change. Ladies and gentlemen,
and open up to broader markets. More integrated groupings, such as SADC, East African Community, and COMESA, 3 regional economic communities, are mutually reinforcing each other into a union that stands as a functional model and a beacon lighting the way towards continental integration. However, these remarkable advances are confronted by recent international economic context, marked by 2 major developments: the end of AGOA on September the 30th, and the introduction of new taxes and tariffs by the US administration on African products. For 25 years, these products had entered the American market duty-free. These new tariffs undermine the competitiveness of African products in the US market, posing a threat to the growth of our national economies, especially those whose vitality depend on export volumes to the United States. This worrying situation makes the importance of EFCFTA even more pressing. Through optimal functioning, it should intensify intra-African trade. The successful completion of EFCFTA Phase 1 on protocols urgently calls for moving to the next step, applying rules and eliminating all friction points. especially persistent non-tariff barriers that are even more harmful than tariffs across all 8 of our regional economic communities. In brief, I strongly urge all regional economic communities to commit to implementing all technical requirements necessary to the CFTA to operate fully. This will bring about cumulative positive effects, driving the structural transformation of Africa's economy, a foundation for achieving Agenda 2063. My fervent wish is for the 24th Summit of COMESA, of Heads of State and Government, to make COMESA a leader in the full implementation of EFCFTA. For its part, the African Union Commission, faithful to its statutory missions, remains available to support COMESA on its path towards its objectives. I thank you.
And the final speaker for this session, allow me to invite His Excellency Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Tumpigie makofi. Let's welcome him with a clap. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, President Ruto, Chairperson of the COMESA Authority, Your Excellency, President Ndayishimiye, the outgoing Chairperson of the COMESA Authority, Your Excellencies, our Heads of States and Government, representatives of Heads of States and Government, Your Excellency Mohamoud Ali Yousuf, the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency Madam Secretary General Kapwepwe, the Secretary General of COMESA, Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, leaders of the private sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to yet again participate in the summit of COMESA. I'm most grateful for the opportunity to be here today. May I start by congratulating Her Excellency Madam Secretary General on all of the progress recorded since the last summit last year. In line with this year's theme, I wish to commend COMESA for the very bold steps that have been taken under the leadership of the COMESA Authority to embrace digitalization and the digital economy as a catalyst for growth and integration. Various initiatives that have been rolled out, including the digital free trade area, the cross-border payment systems, electronic certificates of origin, as well as other digital tools, enable more efficient, transparent, and inclusive trade within COMESA. Certainly, COMESA in this regard is a shining example and model for the rest of the continent as we transition to digital trade. As the chairperson has just noted, the AFC itself has now moved from negotiations to implementation. Digitization is at the center of this transition to implementation. In this regard, a key milestone is the Protocol on Digital Trade, which was adopted by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union in February 2024. The protocol addresses a number of critical challenges, including payments that is seamless, interoperable across regions, market access for digital products, digital trade facilitation, and most importantly, an imperative that we all share, digital inclusion. We believe where we implement the protocol on digital trade, Africa's digital economy is set to increase from the current value of 180 billion United States dollars to over $700 billion by the year 2050. At the heart of this accelerated growth in Africa's digital economy must be benefits for small medium enterprises and young people. the AfCFTA Secretariat is committed to working with COMESA to play an important role in the harmonization of digital trade rules and the deployment of digital technologies for Africa's economic development. Progress has been made in very important trade-enabling areas, such as payments. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System has been adopted and endorsed by the Assembly of Heads of States and Government as an example of the deployment of digital tools to enhance and reduce the cost of trade in Africa. May I conclude, Your Excellencies, by making an observation that is all too obvious to all of us, and that is the current adverse geo-economic global context, which will have materially adverse